Welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. Let me get on here really quick. Hi guys, welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. Hello, hello. Hello everybody. Hello Jay, how are you? Epifania, how are you? Sheree, sending you a big hug right now. I'm sure you guys are super busy. Nancy, how are you? Monica, how you doing? Fit My Life, I believe it says. Susana Lopez. Who else is on here? Hey Frankie, how are you? Give the family a big hug and a big kiss. Claudia, how are you? Hi guys, hello, 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 hello. Mari Carmen, hello. Delightful treats. I was thinking about your churro cheesecake today, as a matter of fact. Whittier Steals and Deals, how are you? Mbella 1444, Denise, Myra. Hey guys, hey ladies. Ayuda en Español, how are you? Hey cousin, sending you a big hug out in Chicago. By the way, Chicago PD is one of my favorite shows ever. Let me move back. I feel like I'm all up in it here. All right. My Ricky Ricardo shirt. I love it. Hi guys. Tanya, how are you? This reminds me of an episode of I Love Lucy with you know how he's what is he? What was he? Colombian, right? No, what was he? What was Ricky Ricardo? He was from Cuba, not Colombian. Cuban.
He was Korean.
Stop. My brain can't think right now. Cuban, there you go. I don't know why I said Colombian. Totally off. Cubano. Pati, how are you? Let me see. Vanessa, I'm sending you a big hug and congratulations to Steven. I can't believe he graduated already. So crazy. Mom brain. I don't know if it's mom brain or I don't even know. No. But we're here, so welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are on Instagram and Facebook. Thank God I figured out what happened. So for those who are trying to do lives, just to let you know, you can't do lives on your business page. It only lets you do it on your personal page, which is really strange, but whatever. Or maybe I just don't know how to operate and how to do that. But they change a lot of different things. So, hey, Debbie. So let's get started. So welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Wealthy Wednesday. Definitely, if you guys have been following my lives, yesterday was very intense, and there's been a lot of intense energy from COVID to George Floyd, and you guys have all seen some of my posts, some of my frustration, all that stuff. And I feel like today is just such a better day. And I say better day, not that it's better. It's just I feel like there's actually the words are getting out. People are actually protesting, and they're protesting in such a way that they're being heard. So it's just, I feel like it's calm. It's not chaos. Looters aren't breaking into things. There's so many different things going on, right? Like from looting to police brutality, to racism, to dealing with their own emotions, to there's so much stuff. So take a moment to just zen that out for a minute and be here present with me on Wealthy Wednesdays. So, and there was a 5.5 earthquake centered in San Bernardino County. Oh, okay, I didn't feel that, but yeah, and an earthquake. So I think God's telling us to be better human beings. That's how I'm going to take all of this right now in this present moment. I'm filtering this to say that I just get to be a much more compassionate human being, a much more loving, caring human to our world. And God's just saying, yo, if you guys haven't had enough, these are just life lessons for you to learn to be nicer to people, to be, all this wonderful stuff. That's how I'm going to take this, and I'm going to move the earth. If you haven't already felt it, it's like, hello, wake up, that's how I'm going to take it. So God, I'm listening, and I am praying that everybody is going to continue to be safe, and that you're going to continue to shine your light upon us so that we can be better human beings. So I'm going to get to a few topics. We're going to talk about the topic about preventing fraud, but most importantly, I also want to not only talk about, the George Floyd and acknowledging, and may he rest in peace, and whether you have family disagree with that. Like, I totally disagree with police brutality, like 100%. I absolutely. But also having family members in law enforcement, I'm going to support. I support police. Like if I call 911, let me tell you something. They're going to be coming to my door. Now, I do not support police brutality, but I will always be in support of cops and our military because they keep us safe. They keep us safe from all these crazy wars. They keep us safe from, from harmful things. So you can't, one bad apple can't ruin the rest. There's a lot of really good cops out there. So if there's a group of 10 and there's one bad one, I'm going to continue to do justice, right? We're going to do whatever we need to do to, help that person out. But more importantly, I'm going to focus on the 9 that are doing right. So my hat's off to all of the police out there, all of the SWATs, all of just everybody out there that's really putting their work, the fire department, everybody doing all the, just taking care of us, because it takes a toll on someone's life, and not only on their life, but also on their family. So for all of those sacrificing your life out there, like, my hat's off to you. Thank you. I respect you. I honor you. And thank you for keeping us safe. So yeah, that's that. So I also want to acknowledge all of the alumni that have been part of Financial Bootcamp. So if you're an alumni, please put on here that you're an alumni. Maybe post 3 emojis if you're an alumni. Or put 3 emojis in an alumni. Now, if it's also your first time, please let me know that it's your first time by posting what city you're tuning in from and that it's your first time. Now, if it's not your first time, if you can, babe, can you please not walk through there because you're a huge distraction to me.
Sorry.
If you are reoccurring and it's not your first time, I would love, I would love for you guys to post just one emoji and the city you're tuning in from, because that actually keeps my brain straight. I love it. Okay, great. I love my husband, I love my daughter, but they're a distraction. Trust me, I have a lot of squirrel moments and I'm trying to do all my best I can to stay focused right here. Woo. All right, I love all the different emojis. Great, I love it. I love it. Let me just see who else is on here. Okay, beautiful. All right. Oh, I love these emojis that are coming up. So if it's just one emoji, that means you have this is not your first time. If you put 3 emojis in alumni, you've done the Financial Bootcamp. And if it's your first time, you're going to put your favorite emoji plus it's your first time. Okay, great. I love it. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If it's your first time, Chicago, if it's your first time, thank you for tuning in to Wealthy Wednesday. For those that don't know me, I am the author of A Latina's Guide to Money, which you can get on Amazon, or you can get a free copy of it if you go to my website, and you can get a free copy emailed to you. And also, I am the owner of Eva Macias and Associates, Financial and Insurance Services. Thank you guys. I love seeing all these, and where we do financial services. And also the creator and founder of the Financial Bootcamp, where our model is you're worthy of having it all. As you guys can see on my mug, this is our logo, so it's awesome. And the goal behind Wealthy Wednesdays has always been that this is a community of men and women who just look at things a little differently, different perspectives, and I do my best in giving you different tips that can potentially help you out. Some have been from my own personal experience to other people's experiences to just the community, like saying, hey, can you talk about this, or how do you handle this, or it can, just coming along as a community and helping one another. So today I wanted to talk about, and the topic of today is fraud prevention. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it can happen to anyone, right? Anyone. And it's something that sometimes is so subtle, and sometimes it's something that is not so subtle. So I'll give you a perfect example of why I wanted to talk about this. So I got an email that wanted me to confirm my bank account information with the bank that I actually bank with. A super legit email, by the way, super legit. I looked at this, it had, and I'll give you guys, it had the Chase logo. It had from the fraud department. Like, it was super legit. And I was like, oh my God. And the reason why I said, oh my God, was because, and please tell me if you have, raise your hand if you have you been making more online purchases? You probably have. I know I have, right? And so because of that, I was like, oh my God, somebody got into my account. And so I was going to click on the click here, right? And something told me not to. Call it your intuition. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Call it whatever you want to call it. I said, before I do that, I'm going to go online and check my online, because I said I had limited access to my account. And so I said, before I do any of that, I was going to call the bank and say, hey, did you guys do this? But I didn't get a chance to because I didn't. I had other things going on. And so I said, let me check who this, then my assistant actually said, you should check what email it's coming from. And it said Chase Fraud Department. But then when I actually clicked on like where it was coming from, it was a boutique out in Russia or somewhere out there, like Moscow. It was a boutique in Moscow. And this thing was super legit that I was like, I could have fallen and I could have clicked on that and I don't know what would have happened, right? So when that happened to me, I said, I think it's really important that we start talking about fraud prevention, because we are home, we're using our debit cards, our credit cards a lot more. And so I think it's really important. Also, honey, can I share about what you noticed?
Oh, what?
Well, if I'm going to say it, I'm going to share it. So,
Sure.
Okay. So my husband also noticed that there was some fraud in his account because there was a gas charge on one of his statements. And tip is, and I'll give you guys a tip, but he doesn't put gas in that account. So it stood out like a sore thumb, right, honey?
Yep. There's no gas in electric cars.
There's no gas in electric cars. So there's gas in my car, but not in his car. So immediately you're like, right? These fraud people, they do it in something that you wouldn't notice, something so subtle like gas. You put gas in your car, right? So you're like, oh, I probably put gas. I don't remember. But you have no idea if they're actually like, if they keep doing it, you don't notice it. Absolutely, gas fraud is very, very, very common. And it's also something that we don't notice, because how many of you will actually take the time to take a look at your statement and be like, oh, where is this from, right? You probably don't, because you have other things going on, like teaching your kids and working and maintaining your household. And so your activities here and physically are so much that you don't get to that. So those are like the little things that happen. But one of the tips that I want to give you guys is, when it comes to your emails, why I've had the Wednesdays before that I say, hey, you know what? You guys should unsubscribe from emails that you guys don't need, because sometimes your email gets so bombarded with so many that these, like the Chase Fraud Department, stood out so much. And so for me, like, I try to unsubscribe myself from all these different emails so that my email doesn't get bombarded. And when I get these, I'm like, this looks suspicious. This is definitely strange. And so, and for example, with like, let's just say gas, right? I normally, when I was going in and out of work, right, it's a little different right now. It's a little scattered right now, I'm not gonna lie. But for me, I put gas on Mondays. So if it doesn't land on a Monday, most likely I'm not putting gas. So I take a look at the date. And so I know it sounds really crazy, but these are like the things that I notice. And so if the charge gets put on a Monday, if I look at the date, then that makes sense. Because for me, I don't use a whole tank. Like, I don't use my gas tank that often. So I know Monday, this is when gas gets placed. And because of that, then I'll be good. So little things like that. Also, in my statements, I separate different accounts for different reasons. So I'm going to talk about personal. On the personal, I know what should be coming out of the account. Okay, just kidding. Sorry, my husband's talking to me. See, squirrel moment, babe, stop. Wait, yes, I do want you. He's going to give us a tip too. But also, in my personal account, I only have certain automatic payments out of my account. So there shouldn't be any other payments on there. I keep it really simple. so that I know what needs to be spent. So I can literally go through every month in 5 minutes and be like, yes, this was supposed to be done. There's has to be, let's just say 5 charges, boom, 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 boom. Everything else, okay. The only places I shop will be the markets, and I more or less know I have a budget for those markets. So if it exceeds more than a certain amount, then I know it wasn't me, unless there's a party going on, and there's no parties going on, unfortunately. Another thing that I also do is, and I do this usually at the beginning of the year, is I always request for new cards on all of my cards. Debit cards, the credit cards, anything like that, I request new cards, because how often do you have your card and it's with you until the number, oh my God, today I don't have a brain today, until the paint off of the numbers comes off, and then the stripes all like messed up, right? Like you have it forever, because if you don't need to update it, why would you? Because you don't want to give yourself more things to do. I actually do give myself those more things to do. I actually request cards from all of them. There was a year where I actually did a little bit more, just because there was a lot of other stuff going on. But yes, I request new cards from all of them, even if there was no fraud on them. I just want new cards, and I update all the information. Why? Because this is my way of thinking. If I constantly use the same card for things over and over and over and over, and sometimes you even save those cards, oh, would you like to save these cards on here for an easier checkout? And you click yes, you don't know who's on your computer, right? Like you don't know what information you're giving out to the world. So I actually do that. And that's one thing that I do. I also, oh, sorry, honey, you said you wanted to give a tip. Where are you?
Where?
Okay, would you like to?
Can I just say the tip? Or do you want
Yeah,
to
go ahead, that's fine.
The reason why I knew the credit card fraud was there is because I have on all your accounts, Capital One, your debit card, and so forth, you can turn on notification via text message. So anytime I get charged for anything, doesn't matter if I did it or not, it's real time. You get a text message saying that you got charged $22 at Rite Aid, right? Mm-hmm. And hopefully that's you at Rite Aid. If not, you're going to get notification. So on each of the accounts, if you do online banking or online, you access your account online, which everyone does, there's an option which has a notification. You could do email, but emails gets lost. Text messages happens pretty much real time. So once you get the text message, you know it was you, then fraud is a lot easier to deter that way. So that's my thing.
Okay, great. So that was easy. What do you guys do normally to do any type of fraud prevention on your side? I'm just curious. I've also taken the time to call, like for example, Chase, if it's happened to me before, call and I'll be like, hey, this is what's happening. They'll actually have me forward that information to their real fraud department. Another thing that's really important around this time is to, I know you may not think of this, but your elderly, right now, your older people are not super tech savvy. And so I think it's really important that you guys also help them with it, because if they're being pushed to do more online stuff and they're not as familiar, they may not know how to do certain things. So also, do me a favor and make sure you guys check in with your elderly. A lot of people also are calling saying, oh, by the way, you know, we need your information. I'm sure with the stimulus check being deposited, people can be like, oh yes, you know, can you please give us your banking information to make sure we send you guys your check? Like, there's so many different things. People get creative, by the way. So, so it's really important that you guys also let them know, like elderly people, and never to give any. IRS and Social Security are always going to be on snail mail. That's how I look at it. So if it has not been emailed, if it has not been mailed to you, then don't give any information out. That's some of the things that, like, for me, like, I pay attention to. Also, another thing to do is to try not to do so many online stuff. Like, my credit cards are not online. Like, I don't create online accounts for them. I'm still old school. I still get statements. And I do pay attention to those, and I do wait for them. And it worked, right? It worked. So it's not that much more difficult to check it there, because you don't check it online. So, but here I do check it, and I hope you guys do too. Let me see what else. I learned to pay with cash instead of a card. That's great. Some people are not as good with cash. So if you use your card, like I use my card, but we do different things, like, to make sure that you guys don't. Barbara Cochran got scammed through email. Oh, wow. Yeah, it can happen to any one of us. Another thing is when it comes to your online stuff, when I was saying, I don't put my online information on there. I also do something else. I also change my passwords. I know this is a pain in the neck. I'm not going to disagree with any of you if you guys think it's a pain in the neck. But one of the things that I do is I change my passwords often. And so once a year, I change my password, and like for all of the accounts. I have 3 pages of accounts, like not accounts, but I have 3 pages of passwords is what I mean. Okay, remember? I have 3 pages because I have personal and then I have business. And business, I have a lot of different, like I have a software, I have different companies I have to get access to. I have different accounts, like I'm part of different organizations through what I do. And so they have accounts that you got to set up, then running a business, like all of those accounts, they're all different accounts. So I actually change my passwords once a year with all of those. And it's a pain, but I feel that if I do that every year, like this is how I think. If someone was going to do that, like they probably can't keep up because I do different things and I just do them frequently. So if let's just say they finally got in, then I'm not in the thread for that. Like that's how I think of it. So I change my passwords for all of the accounts once a year. You can do it as many times as you want. I ask for new cards once a year, which also helps you not have so many like credit cards. So I do that. And then Remo set those alerts, which I think is great. And then 4 is do not subscribe to any free stuff. Don't, I know this is like, because I'm telling you, hey, come and get my book. It's a free book. You're going to get an email from Wealthy Wednesday probably. But I don't like when it says, oh, would you like to get 15% off of this? And you just say yes, just because, you just say yes. I don't. If I go to the store and they say, oh, can we have your email so we can send you newsletters? I always say no to that stuff because, yes, it starts through email. And then you don't know what's going on the other side of the computer and in cyber world. You don't know. Like, you really don't. I know I don't. So let me see. I'm going to read something from God, there's so many wonderful people on here. Hello, Izzy, Lily, Lynette, Eric, Alex, Anthony, Faith. Let me see. It says, during financial bootcamp, I noticed a bank charge from a bridal boutique in the OC. When I called the number, it was a boutique at the breast cancer and PIH, and I called the bank and they refunded the charge. Okay, great. Yeah, banks will definitely work with you. I also, one thing that I do is I always, usually on purchases, when I make purchases, I will use my credit card because I feel like if there was something, I can get the money back. I feel like I don't want the money to come out of my actual physical checking account. So I'd rather use the credit card, right? Because credit cards are not real money. That's how I look at it, right? It's not money that you can go pull out that you can, be like, here's $1. No, credit card, it's plastic. It's plastic. That's it. Like somebody said, you have a credit limit of $20,000. So that's what you believe you have. And you do, but they didn't give you money. They just give you a plastic piece of, card. And so for that reason, I like doing I like doing online purchases with my credit cards. And so that this way I know, and I actually, to go a little step deeper than that, I also, and this is probably just me being who I am, right, mentally, but I use different cards for different purchases. So like one card is tied up to personal, the other card is tied to business, and then I have other cards that are like just they're there, but, and I also have credit cards that I use specifically for personal or for business, which also helps me keep myself accountable into like the amount of money that I am spending within, to see if I'm within the budget and so forth. And trust me when I tell you, there was a time where I was like buying stuff for Camila like crazy, and I was like, okay, I need to stop. So I had to check myself as well because I didn't know I needed certain things. So what do you guys do for that? As you guys post your comments, Alexa, chandelier lights on. I'm also going to talk about, thank you. I'm also going to talk about financial bootcamp. So how many of you have heard of financial bootcamp and what that means, or what that is, I'm sorry. Financial bootcamp, for those that don't know, and I'm going to get really specific because I keep getting similar questions. Hello, Manny. So I designed a financial bootcamp. It's a 5-week, it's online bootcamp, and it starts on June 9th. Registration is over tomorrow, and so it starts on June 9th, and every Tuesday for 5 weeks, we do live Zoom calls. They're live, they're not pre-recorded, they're from 6:30 to 8:30. On our last bootcamp, we had over 65 people attend, and yay, the job spa, I love it. And so what we do is I break down in those 5 weeks, 5 different topics. Week 1, we talk about housing. Week 2, we talk about transportation. Week 3, we talk about other living expenses. Week 4, we talk about debt. And week 5, we talk about savings and investing. So you go online, you will take a Zoom call. Do you have to be present? Yes, because they're not pre-recorded, right? If you sign up for it, and if you miss a class, yes, can you make it up? Yes, you can. In the following bootcamp, we will not come to you. It's up to you to come to me and say, I missed this. And then we'll look at it in our sign-in sheets to see if it's true. And if you missed it, then boom, okay? Bootcamp is $99. Bootcamp normally regular price is $499, okay? $500, probably the best investment you'll ever do to yourself because it'll save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future. And it's $100 because of COVID-19 and everything. Look at this, 88 thank you, best bootcamp and best instructor. Oh, thank you so much. So the goal behind it is to help you understand different topics and help you answer any of your questions that you may have in all of those subject matters. The goal is for you guys to have a foundation of your finances to then elevate you to the next level. Next level for some people may be, you know what, I have my finances in order, everything's pretty set, then I want to buy a house. So that's your next level. I'll give you a perfect example. They're alumni, they're a husband and a wife that happen to take the boot camp in separate times, which I can recommend that to do it in separate times because you're going to go through an experience. Tanya Carr said, I got my money back just from one phone call you told me to make during boot camp. Booyah, yay! So I told her to do something, she did it, and boom, she got her $100 back. Best investment ever, I'm telling you. And I get really excited about it. So back to, there was a couple that did boot camp, and they did it separately, which I thought was great because they both have their different experiences and different conversations about money. And so they did it separately. When they came to see me, I posted this on my Instagram stories. You guys probably read it. They had actually sold their house. They had a really horrible experience with their previous realtor. Like, it was just all this like horrible stuff. They had a lot of debt. And I said, it's going to be a process, but you got to start, step by step. So they trusted in myself, and they did the boot camp. And then after the boot camp, they came and saw me, and they don't have any debt anymore. They were able to get themselves into a house that they love, and they have money in their savings account, and they have life insurance. And so they have all the things that they didn't have before, which I thought was great. And yes, honey, who did they use? Remo, realtor. It just works. It was not the horrible experience that they had in regards to their next level or their leveling up. They were so grateful. They were excited to get into their new home. And mind you, this has all been happening in the last few months with chaos going on in life. And they're like, we're so excited about this new stage in our life. So it's crazy. Like, maybe when you go through the boot camp, you'll go through it once, but then you may apply these things way later in life. You just don't know. Thank you for the love, by the way. So just remember that boot camp will be the experience that you want it to. How often have you asked yourself or told yourself, I don't have time and I don't have money? And if you don't have time, you're like, oh, for me to go through, for me to learn all this stuff, it's going to take me forever. My goal is that in 2 hours, you know how these subject matters would apply to you, so that this way, what I've pretty much done is I've I've been through the process of these things, and so I've learned a lot. And by learning it, I pretty much already did the work for you, and I'm taking the cliff notes of where to get yourself to the next level. And I'm going to then connect you to the people, because I'm a great connector. If you know me, you know I am. I'm going to connect you to the resources and people that I know that can help you to get you there without any BS and without you feeling ever intimidated or feel like you've ever been taken advantage, because it does happen to a lot of people. And so that's the group of people that I associate myself. And so with that, is continuously to help you, because we do believe in the win-win situation. We don't believe that, or I don't believe that, oh, I have to get something and then you're going to get screwed. It's no, it's, you know, you, by you being part of the boot camp, you support my vision and continuously supporting, you know, me in growing the financial boot camp to create this financial awareness. Because this is, you know, we talk about racism, and you guys have seen a lot of the videos. You probably have posted some of these videos about how, you know, African-American families don't get resources. They don't get this information to the, you know, the Latinos, the African-Americans, you know, we don't get this information. We don't. And so when I created this, never did I think I was going to be saying this, but I didn't even look at it in that way of like racism. They don't get, you know, there's racism in the world, they get less resources. But now through this whole, like George Floyd, I'm thinking, yes, because we don't get these resources, we as a community, myself, you know, I get to take responsibility on how I can be part of the solution. How can I level up to create these resources for people that are underserved, that don't have them, and how can I get my information out there for all of us? Because at one point, we're all in a category. And so that's what we've been working and doing, and continuously providing information that I think is really important for our communities more than ever, because we get to take responsibility and we get to help one another, and we're all talented in different ways. And so what better way than to showcase who we are in our expertise. Sometimes, you know, expertise, or call it wisdom, or call it life experiences, that we can help other people get to where they need to get to, or get to where they want to get to. And so, yes, and then we learn how to make better decisions. Hey, Marlene, we learn to make better decisions about things that ultimately impact us, right? We start thinking a little bit differently. I know, I'll share this, I hope it's okay. One of my alumni that's on here, you know, she's like, I've had conversations about money that weren't the greatest. I just spent. And mind you, you know, single mom with kids. And so she literally said, I opened up savings accounts and I'm not afraid to open them up. Like, I'm at peace opening them up and putting money in there. And I recommended she read a few books. Of course, mine was one of them. And another book, a few other books that really helped, like that she said, they're going to help her get to where she needs to get to. So again, I highly encourage you to be part of it, not for me, but for you. And come with the mind space that you're not there to take, you're there to contribute. And when you contribute, you end up taking so much. So I hope that I see most of you. I believe we already have 50 people signed up for the boot camp, and the boot camp registration ends tomorrow, so we can have enough people. So registration ends tomorrow pretty much. And it starts June 9th from 6:30 to 8:30. Honey, do you have any people from the boot camp that you have said anything powerful that you'd like to share?
Anyone from the boot camp?
That you've done business with, that they've shared?
Who's the other?
Oh, you're not going to share names, but
Someone recent that I call it part of the Eva cult. They were like God Eva, which is great.
Don't say that. God's going to be like, whoa.
Well, I mean it.
No, it's my unicornish. That's what he calls me, unicornish. We just help people make things happen.
I mean, so yes, it was a positive one, because at the end of the day, we're always on a path to improve ourselves so the future could be better. And the only way we know tomorrow is going to be better is if we improve today. And
mic drop right there, babe. Ooh.
I was watching Obama.
Yes.
Today at the town hall that he did, and I thought it was really powerful. Yeah, out there. So Obama was saying something earlier that I thought was really powerful. And what he says is, racism and all these other things that are going on, nothing happens overnight. But what you do change is the direction of the way things are going. And so it's like a really big, Titanic type shift where if you want to make a U-turn or you want to change, it's a slow process, but it has to start from somewhere. And in this case, they call it, bending this curve, which is common to what they call for COVID-19. So it was something that was real powerful. But the only way we know tomorrow's going to be better is if we improve today. And that's the only thing that we could rest on.
And if we're going to bend the curve on poverty and the poverty mindset, what no better way than to do it with other people that want to be, better.
One more regarding when you say bending the curve for poverty, we always talk about home ownership and why home ownership is an important thing is because just like, people that become homeowners for the first time, maybe their parents weren't homeowners, you bend that generational curve for your family. When the standard now becomes being homeowners, then your kids and their kids see that as a natural thing. Yep. Same thing when it comes to financial literacy and being financially sound and making sure you have proper insurances. Once that becomes a habit and that good planning, then it becomes kind of the normal thing to do. Yeah. And I think that's something that's really important. So as you go through things, you don't necessarily look at them and say, well, maybe not now, right? It starts now, so over time it switches to it has to be now. And that kind of thinking has to start somewhere.
It starts now. Thank you, honey. What's up with all the flowers that we got going on? I love it.
Can I share my opinion about the funny? Well, since you started. All right.
Well, unless it has to do with fraud prevention and people doing boot camp.
Well, it's something that you said earlier that
my husband was listening to Wealthy Wednesday live. What would you like to share about George Floyd?
You had mentioned earlier about there are unfortunately sometimes, not sometimes, but in this case there definitely are bad apples in the group, and
oh yeah.
And I know you mentioned something earlier that maybe might have not come off as sensitive. So I just want to clarify. I know your intentions. You said that. So, anyways, there's definitely a few bad apples. Say? Well, you said that a few bad apples doesn't spoil the kind of group, and unfortunately it does.
Not if you remove that bad apple.
Yeah, so that's
not if you remove the bad apple.
Yeah, but the goal is sometimes it's difficult, and I think people's frustration is everyone knows, generally speaking, cops are good, right? Police is good. It's those few that unfortunately just taint the group. If you take dye, right, a drop of dye, and that dye drops in water, it tarnishes everything. And unfortunately, that's what happens with the policing. Is you have these incidents that just are absolutely not acceptable. I mentioned Chris Tucker, one of the comedians, I forget his name, and he says that police officers should be like pilots, right? They always have to get it right, and that's kind of that's a high standard to live towards because that's because at the end of the day we're all human, but you would never get on a plane where you think that the pilot gets it right 99% of the time, and 1% of the time he doesn't get it right, because that's just not acceptable. And I think it starts from educating the officers and more intervention, and I can keep going on and on. But
what was the point?
No, just to clarify something that was said earlier.
I was like, I'm lost.
The bad apple.
Yes. Yeah, there's a bad apple. If there's a bad apple, it's important that we remove them. That was George Floyd's, my husband's conversation about that. Because obviously, he said I sounded a little insensitive, but I hope that you guys know that I'm not. Maybe I am, I don't know. But going to this information, I saw somebody put on here that they want to be the curve for their kids. Yes, that's all we can do is be better, become better, be better, and just focus on what do we need to do, and not just protest, but what do we need to actually take action on. I think sometimes why it's so difficult is because we get put on the spot on that we get to level up, and sometimes that's uncomfortable, right? Like you signing up for the boot camp might be uncomfortable because you don't want to put your business out there. You won't share your business out there, but you will share your business out there. And even though we seem like we don't care, we do care. It's just everybody's in their own in their own world. So just, it's an experience that I think they'll definitely appreciate. And we've had nothing but positive, or we've had a lot of amazing positive results from it. And I'm going to continue doing it until I turn blue in the face. And I think it's important that we share this information. And again, we get to continue flattening the curve for so many things. And the only way we get to do that is by showing up powerful. And so we can do it in all areas of our lives, from racism to police brutality, to our finances, to generational wealth gaps, to so many different gaps. Like, this goes deep, 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 and it's all connected. And that's the beauty of it, that once you start leveling up and thinking abundant mindset, there's no fear. Like, look at all the organizations you can contribute to, Black business owners. You can donate to so many of them. You won't be able to do that if you don't have the funds, right? Yes, you can donate time. I'm all about that, because time's my love language. But if you have money, you can be able to even donate more and give more. And so again, I just invite you guys to be part of this amazing journey with us and be part of our alumni group. So again, remember, sign up because registration closes tomorrow. EvaMacias.com. You can register on the link in my bio, or you can go to my website. If you guys have any problems, just DM me. I will reply back. And again, you guys have seen some of the comments from people. It's totally worth it. Great information, no judgment zone, absolutely not. And trust me when I tell you that I'm here to support you. And I see a lot of comments that really make me happy. And again, there's things that we learned. And remember, if you took one thing from today, is sign up for the bootcamp to make sure that you're minimizing your usage, so that this way there's no fraud going on in your life. And if it happens, report it immediately. Okay? So thank you guys. Have an amazing, wealthy Wednesday. Bye, guys. I hope to see you on Tuesday at Financial Bootcamp.